Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Jeffrey Cooperstein, and on today's show, we're going to get into some Summer League winners and losers for the Mavericks. They conclude their Summer League tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and without further ado, let's just jump right in. Number one, my main winner for this Summer League is going to be Jamarion Sharp, the center, who was out of Ole Miss. The guy's 7'5" and can block shots at a pretty high level, and I think if you can do that in the Summer League, that translates into higher level basketball, whether it be the G League or the NBA. I think Sharp did enough on this Mavericks roster to be able to at least warrant a tryout for the exhibition season. And whether he gets a two-way deal or goes to somebody's G League team, maybe he even gets an NBA roster spot, I do think he will find a home in the NBA at some point. So I was pretty impressed with Jamarion Sharp and all he brought to the table on the defensive end. He's not going to give you anything on offense, but you know that coming in. But if you're 7'5" and can block shots like that, I think you always have a chance to stick in the NBA. First loser is going to be Alex Fudge. I just don't see it with Alex Fudge, man. Like, he has been in the NBA for a couple of years now. He was with the Lakers, with the Mavericks last year, came out of Florida. He's a long wing who's athletic, but he doesn't do anything on a basketball court where you're just like, wow, okay, I can see that helping the Mavericks. Alex Fudge is nowhere near what the Mavericks need right now or what any NBA team could really use as far as a developmental player to go, because he's just not very talented at basketball. He's a freak athlete, and he has that going for him. But as far as using a two-way spot or using another roster spot on a guy like Alex Fudge, I'm not really in the business of that. I know this might sound kind of harsh on him. I just don't think he's an NBA player. I think his career will end up in Europe or somewhere else. He was the biggest Mavericks loser of the Summer League to me. Let me know what you guys think, though. Who is the Mavs Summer League MVP? Are you looking at a guy like Max Prosper? Are you looking at a guy like Jamarion Sharp? Are you looking at a guy like AJ Lawson? This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So when you get hit with a YouTube ad break, go on down there and get your votes in. Who was the Mavs Summer League MVP? Maybe it could be a guy like Jaz Gortman, who the Mavericks officially signed the day before the Summer League began. And I'll tell you what, this guy has some offensive ability. In the first game especially, he was knocking down threes off the dribble. He was taking people on the drive. I think he can do a lot on the offensive end. And when you're looking in Summer League, those are the kind of guys I'm looking at. Can you find a guy who has an NBA skill that can help you out right away? Jamarion Sharp has the shot blocking. Jaz Gortman, man, can score at a high level. And if you can find scoring at a high level in the Summer League, you try to stick onto it. Now, he played a little bit. He was with Overtime Elite, and then he played for Portland and Milwaukee's G League team last year. I expect the Mavericks to at least stick him with the Legends and see if he can ball out there. And if he does, maybe he signs a 10-day contract in the NBA. Maybe the Mavs elevate him to a two-way deal. Jaz Gortman is a guy who I think does have a future in this league, whether it's as an NBA roster guy, as a two-way guy. I do think he has some ability to make the NBA, and he made a name for himself here in this Summer League. Second loser is going to be Melvin Ajinca. He didn't provide much, and we know that he's not going to play for the Mavericks this year. He's more than likely going to stay in France and play there, or in Germany, wherever he played last year. But Ajinca he has no offensive ability. Now, he is a decent defender, and I do think that will eventually translate, but he is such a raw prospect right now that when the Mavs took him with the 51st overall pick, I don't think they had any expectation whatsoever that he was going to play a major role on this Mavs team. I think they'll be better suited using their roster spots elsewhere on Melvin Ajinca. I know he wanted to make a solid impression on the Mavericks, but I don't think he did enough for them to bring him on over this year. He's going to be a draft and stash guy for this season. We'll see how he plays over in Europe, and then we'll reevaluate next season. We may see him in the Summer League again next year if we're talking about Melvin Ajinca. And then a winner, the last winner, Emanuel Miller. I think Miller performed pretty well for the Mavs. I have always, myself and Harrison both have said, we think Miller is a prime two-way candidate, just given his two-way ability on the offensive and defensive end. He's 6'7". He's a wing defender that can guard multiple positions. So he's the guy that I think the Mavs have their eye on as someone who they think they'll want to take into the future and invest something in him, because they think he could be a developmental guy at a pretty cheap cost. So Emanuel Miller is my final winner for the Mavericks Summer League. be sure to hit that subscribe button. We do have the best Mavs coverage on YouTube. I'm coming here on a Saturday giving you guys a video. My voice is kind of gone, but we're still giving you videos regardless. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're always covering the Mavericks throughout the offseason, the season, the playoffs in general. Stay tuned with us, myself and Harrison. We're real Mavs fans, and we'll have you covered nonstop. All right, I wanted to talk about Omax just a little bit before we left. Omax, it was an okay summer league for him. I didn't want to put him in the winners or the losers category simply because I think he struggled in the first 3 games. He had a really good game against the Celtics where he ended up with 22 points and was guarding well. So I think he had an up and down summer league. I don't think he changed his status, though, as far as, oh, this guy's going to be a rotation player for the Mavs this year. Or, oh, Omax is going to be someone that the Mavs can never rely on. So I don't think his status really changed in that regard. But I do think that he could have had a better summer league. I wish the offense would have ran through him a little bit more. He was kind of, I wouldn't say pedestrian, but they didn't really run any specific things for him, and that's kind of what I wanted to see. AJ Lawson was pretty good. We know what he brings to the table. His contract is non-guaranteed. So if the Mavs do want to make a move, whether it's to sign a point guard like Spencer Dinwiddie or Dennis Smith, they can do that. We already know that they're going, all reports indicate at least that they're going to re-sign Markieff Morris for the final roster spot. They can cut AJ Lawson to create another one, so that could happen as well. And then Brandon Williams, who the Mavs did sign to a 2-way contract right before Summer League, I thought he was pretty solid. He's a guy who you could use during the season when injuries happen, when you need kind of an in case of emergency guy. Brandon Williams can do that for you. He gives you some offense, and he can run the point as well. So those are your main 3 guys that I think have the best chance of being in the rotation next year, are Williams, Lawson, and Omax. I think Omax eventually will make it into this Mavericks rotation. I'm not sure if it happens right off the bat, but I do think that they want him to be in there. They drafted him for a reason, and I think they believe in him, especially with the cost control that he is for the next 4 years. I really think Omax is going to be a good player, man. I don't know if it comes this year. It may come next year, but I'm excited about his future regardless of how average his summer league was. That'll be it for today's show, though. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Jeffrey Cooperstein. Harrison Graham and I will be back on Monday with another video talking about the Mavs, all the latest news and rumors. If you haven't, go ahead and check out our video on Julius Randle. I know that was a hot topic over in Mavs Twitter land over the weekend, so go ahead and check that out, and we'll see you soon with another video.